Hey trainers, welcome back. We got confirmation on leaks that we are getting Hisuian variant starters, Decidueye, Typlosion, and Samurott. That's what we're going to be looking at in this video today. So many cool things coming about this upcoming Legends of Arceus game. I can't wait for the game to come out. But today, let's go ahead and look at what we know about these three Pokemon and which I think you may want to choose to start the game off with. Okay, so Hisuian Samurott, Water Dark type, is going to have a lot of stat changes. There's a lot of things that are going to be changing for this Pokemon here, and especially in regards to its bulk. It is going to lose some bulk here. It is going to gain some physical attack and some speed, which is really nice, but it is going to lose a little bit of bulk on the back end, making it a little bit more frail. So let's go ahead and take a look. 95 is going to be the original HP, and it is going to 90. 85 goes to 80 for defense, and 70 to 65 for the special defense. So overall, it's not losing 10, 15, 20 stats per bulk area here, but it is going down a little bit. You definitely want to be careful of that special defense. Now under 70, it is going to be a little on the squishier side for that. So just be careful when you're getting hit with a special attack. But otherwise, you still have a pretty good base HP at 90, and your defense is okay. Just careful that special defense side. Now, we are going to lose some special attack. It's going to go down by 8 and go to 100 instead of 108. So you may want to be looking at what move pool you have with this Pokemon. And instead of being special attack oriented, maybe you're going to go to physical attack oriented, because that positive 8 actually went to the attack side of things so that you can actually do more physical damage, which could be a very good thing if it has access to moves like liquidation and things of that nature that hit hard, maybe priority moves that can go fast, and whatever new possible moves it has, since they are adding a ton of new moves to the game. I think it's 25 new moves right now, or 23, something like that. It's pretty crazy. So there could be some really cool, fun things that you're going to be able to do with the Samurott here. The really nice stat change here, though, is its speed. Samurott was always a little on the slower end at 70, and now it's 85, which makes it kind of middle ground and a lot more viable for a lot of things, especially with the new mechanic, with the speed mechanic possibly being able to go more than once, depending on your speed value versus your opponent. So this could be a really, really nice thing for the Hisuian Samurott. All right, let's take a look at the weaknesses, resistances, and immunities here. So as a dark type, it is going to have an immunity to psychic, which is always nice. But we got to be careful of the weakness here a little bit, because it is going to have a 2x weakness to both fighting and grass. And that is the new leaked Decidueye form typing. So it could be super weak to Decidueye. And Decidueye looks like might be pretty good and have a pretty good move pool to choose from. So you got to be very careful when you're fighting that Decidueye Hisuian variant. It's also going to be weak to Bug, Electric, and Fairy type. Each of those are also going to be a 2x weakness for this Pokemon. On the other hand, though, it is going to be resistant to Ghost, Steel, Fire, Water, Ice, and Dark typings, and the new Typlosion is a Ghost and Fire, so it nullifies a lot of that Typlosion. So on the other hand, it's weak to the Decidueye. It's going to actually be very resistant to the Typlosion, which is normal for the water to going to the fire, or the grass going to the water, right? But in this case, it kind of nullifies both those typings. So super weak to the Decidueye, but super resistant to the Typlosion. Now, obviously, they could have other moves in there that could still damage, so just be careful. But this is a pretty nice resistant to weakness ratio when it comes to the starters. However, when it comes to the actual ratio itself, you do have 5 weaknesses and 6 resistances. So it's not great, but you also do have that immunity to the psychic typing, which is not bad at all. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the Hisuian Typlosion. This is going to be a fire ghost type Pokemon now, so it's going to get that ghost typing, which is going to make it really nice because it's going to be able to avoid things like fake out, so that you won't have to worry about being flinched in the beginning and so on. Now, regardless to that, we're going to look at the stats, and the stats aren't going to change too much. We are going to lose 5 points in our HP, going from 78 to 73, and another 5 points in the speed is going to go away from 100 to 95. Now, 95, still a very respectable stat. It's definitely not crazy low or anything, kind of that upper middle, so very good still with the speed. Just be careful with the HP. You are losing a little bit of bulk on the back end, and the other defensive stats aren't crazy high. Your defense is 78, your special defense is 85, so it's not like you're going to be tanking a lot of damage. Just be careful with that little bit of HP drop. However, you are getting a positive 10 into your special attack, so depending on the move pool for this Pokemon, it already has, as a regular Typhlosion, a pretty good move pool when it comes to special attacks, and they are adding a bunch more attacks, so it could get something even crazier, but that 119 is definitely a respectable attack value for the special attack there, so this could be kind of the game-changing stat here. It's a very respectable looking stat change with a good typing combination. Okay, now let's look at the weaknesses and resistances. There is a lot going on here. So it is going to be weak to ground, rock, ghost, water, and dark typing. So that water dark, that is going to be the Samurott. Be careful when you're fighting a Samurott, because there's going to be a lot of different moves that are going to just punish your Typhlosion. Otherwise, ground, rock, ghost, water, dark are all going to be that 2x weakness. So just be leery out there and watch out for those Samurotts. Now, this is going to have immunities because of the ghost typing, and that is going to go for normal and fighting types. So this is great because that's going to nullify half of the Decidueye right there with the grass fighting type. And then normal is obviously great because, again, we talked about it earlier, things like Fake Out aren't going to be able to hurt you at the beginning of the match, flinch you, and stop you from attacking and all of that. So this is a great typing here with the normal and fighting immunities. Then we go on to resistances, and we are going to be resisting poison, bug, steel, fire, grass, ice, and fairy typings. Bug is actually going to be reduced by 1/4, everything else by 1/2. So this is actually, there's a lot of resistances here. So you've got 5 weaknesses, but then you've got 7 resistances and 2 immunities. This is actually a really good ratio. I like to have it that 2 to 1, and this is pretty close. And this is quite nice, especially because 2 of those are those immunities. So I really like the typing for this Hisuian Typhlosion, and I think that this could be a monster fun Pokemon to play with. Okay, let's look at the Hisuian Decidueye. Now, this is actually my favorite of the new versions. I think this looks super cool. Looks kind of like a Ronin Samurai, and I really like it. I wish the shiny was a little different instead of going back to the kind of original Decidueye colors, but I really like this sprite. I think it's my favorite as far all of them. I think it's really cool looking. So let's go ahead and look at the stats here. Okay, so Decidueye is going to have all of the stats change in some way. So let's look at the bulk first here. HP is going to get a boost. It's going to go from 78 to 88. So that's a big 10 difference there for you. Defense is also going to go up by 5, so you're going to get a little bit more physical bulk coming out. However, your special defense is going to drop, but only by 5, and it's going from 100 to 95. So it's still a pretty respectable special defensive stat there. You're not going to be, going down to the 60s or 70s and being really at risk of getting just troubleshot by some kind of special defensive attack. Special attack. So your bulk is actually pretty good. Having that HP value raise and defensive value raise really makes it a little bit more viable to kind of stay in a little bit longer. Now, as far as the attack, we are going to lose 5 on the special attack, going from 100 to 95. And then the attack is going to get a boost going from 107 to 112. Now, Decidueye was always a bit more on the physical attacking side, so having this boost for the physical attack, I think is really going to lend this Pokemon a lot more credence to use, and I think it's just going to have some really cool new Hisuian type attacks that we're going to have. The speed is kind of where this really kind of falls a little bit, though. So it was already a fairly lower end speed Pokemon, but now we're going to go from 70 speed to 60. So we are dropping a big 10 on that speed stat there, and that does kind of suck depending on how the new mechanic for the speed mechanic going more than once and so on is going to work. Now, maybe you can play this around, get some no good stats on your speed, put it in a trick room team and whatnot, but the speed is definitely the kind of lackluster number here. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the weaknesses and resistance spread here. And Decidueye is going to be, in my opinion, the kind of softest when it comes to this. It's going to be pretty evened out between weakness and resistance. You're going to have weaknesses of flying, poison, fire, psychic, ice, and fairy. Just keep in mind that flying type is a 4x weakness, so any kind of flyer is really going to hurt the Decidueye, and you got to be very careful about that because that is a huge weakness to have. And then the others are all going to be a 2x weaknesses for you, so just be careful of the Typhlosion with the fire, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to resistances, you are going to resist ground, rock, water, grass, electric, and dark type, and these are all going to be a 50% resistance, so you are going to be able to resist the Samurott completely with that water and dark type resistance there, and then obviously other Decidueyes with the grass typing, you're also going to be able to kind of push away as well. So your real threat here is that flying type. Just be careful of that. So we've got the 6 weaknesses, we've got the 6 resistances. It's a 1-to-1 ratio spread. It's not awful, but I like to have as close to a 2-1 as possible, and this kind of gets away from that, so Decidueye, from this standpoint, is probably the weakest in my opinion. Okay, so which of these 3 Pokemon should you be picking? Let's go ahead and take a look here. Just a quick breakdown. Now, this is going to be, obviously, without any new moves that they're adding into the game, confirmation of what their move pools are or anything like that. Just what we already know. And so let's go ahead and start here. So we've got Decidueye, I think is going to be the weakest of the 3. Now, I love the sprite of the Decidueye, so I might pick it just because I think it looks super cool, but it does have a super weakness to flying. It has the worst resist spread. And it does have some bonuses, like it does have the best overall bulk, and it is the stronger of the physical attackers. However, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be able to do a lot of damage to this Pokemon, and it could be a significant threat to it. So this is going to be the first one I'm going to mark off. This is the number 3 choice for me, but definitely not number 1. So we've got Samurott and the Typlosion left. Now, both of these have their benefits. Both can do some pretty cool things and don't have a crazy amount of drawbacks. However, one does lead out over the other. The Samurott is a good physical attacker. It did get that nice speed increase. It's got decent physical bulk, a little on the shallow side for special defense, but decent physical bulk. It does have an immunity, and it's got a pretty decent resist spread. However, the Typlosion has 2 immunities. It has the overall best resist ratio. It's got the highest speed and the overall highest possible offense. Now, again, this is without knowing what the moves and everything are. However, the Typlosion just seems to kind of eclipse the other 2 when it comes to the actual stat spread, the resistances, and so on and so forth. Now, the Typlosion isn't going to be the bulkiest of all of them, but it will be able to get in there, do a ton of damage, outspeed a lot of things, and just be overall really, really good. So I'm going to have to say number 2 goes to Samurott. Good try, but Typlosion is the number 1. Arceus is going to be so much fun. There are so many new variants that we're getting, and Avalugs. Like, it's going to be crazy. I can't wait for this game. I think it's going to be my favorite Pokemon game. I just feel it in my jellies. You know, I feel it in the bones that this is going to be the one that separates them, and I really hope that's true. But guys, if this video helped you out, please drop a like and subscribe. Put a comment down below. Let me know which Pokemon you guys are going to start out with first, and which of the Hisuian variants overall, like Zorua, you are the most excited for. Otherwise, thank you so much for hanging out, guys. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care.